We'd like to call our May 2022 committee meetings to order. Commissioners, if you have not already done so, please turn on your mics. I need to ask before we begin if we have anyone here who wants to address the Red Barn issue on the west end of the county. Do we have anyone here? Okay, then, we'll proceed with our business. Chairman of the Board of the Finance Committee, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call the Finance Committee to order. Do we have any visitors that would like to address the Finance Committee? Seeing none, in your packets you will have the monthly expenditures, and those have been reviewed. Do we have a motion to the acceptance of those monthly checks?
So moved.
We got a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Got a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. In old business, we have none. In new business, the Justice Center report, Tony Pettit. Could you update us, please?
Good evening, guys and lady. Let me give you a report on the Justice Committee, on the status. Rough mass excavation is about 90% complete. And interrupt me if you got a question or something. Micro piles continue. They're about 32% complete. Soil nail wall is 100% complete. That's your permanent soil nail wall. Contractors encountered 3 dropouts. They've repaired 2 and kind of monitoring the third one with third-party GL Services is monitoring that too. Site utilities are proceeding. They're 30% complete at billing time. Concrete subcontractor should mobilize this week. Helen Ross McNabb, our neighbor, that we have some work for them and provide some drives and stuff for them. That should start this week too, and then we'll finally have that behind us and let them operate without interference with us. Utilities are moved except for AT&T. You've heard us talk about moving some utilities and stuff, so all we lack there is maybe the cable people and AT&T, but AT&T's got some low wires, so we're trying to get them motivated to move it. Overall, the project is 14.5% complete, inclusive of stored materials. And this is based on the April pay app. And the stored materials of the April building is $5,431,000. This is a large amount. It continued to grow a little bit to protect the cost escalation of material prices. Actually, the project manager with Blaine Construction and I are driving to Baldwin, Georgia to look at stored materials for the steel jail cells down there for Steel Cell Incorporated, and that happens tomorrow. Work in place is almost $8 million, $7,957,345 in place. The food service equipment package and the laundry equipment package is out for bid. These packages bid on May 27th, and our goal is to have that a recommendation to award on the next committee meeting if everything goes according to plan. Any questions? Yeah.
Mr. Pettit, is there any local areas that you can store materials? I know the site's really tight. I'm just wondering, is there anything we can do? I know the prices are up and down and we don't want to incur any more than we have to. Is there any off-campus sites that we need to use? I mean, you're talking about Baldwin, Georgia. I'm talking about, is there any other materials that we could go ahead and be looking at and storing, on an acre somewhere?
Yeah, when we can get it, we can store it. But we allow, the contractual terms allow for off-site storage, provided they provide us with identifiable materials that we can go look at or see photographs of. Something $5 million, I figure we better drive down and look at it. And then they also have to provide us proof of insurance where they're storing it as a backup in case we're covered there, we pay for them. And then also the proof of sale, proof of ownership.
Okay. I just
So,
didn't want us to miss the
we've talked
opportunity.
about getting all the rebar there, and as trades come in and out, you'll see stuff stacked up. They've got a staging area. It is at a very tight site, but they're trying to manage all that with hopes of getting the materials you can. Some things have shelf lives. You can't really order paint this early or anything like that, but
Sure.
they're storing all the steel they can. There's $400,000, I think, in stored materials for steel right now, more or less. And then rebar is being located, and it'll begin to come to the site. So they're doing everything they can to fend off rising price escalation.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Pettit, what is the dropout that you were speaking of with the
Some
island?
people call it the sinkhole.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
So
right.
it's karst, K-R-R-S-T, geology around here, and you just have that, and your foundations are going into solid rock. We pretty well covered that on that site tour we had, but we still monitor what happens at surface, and usually you just choke them down with lean concrete, but you kind of monitor them, make sure they're not opening up to go around. But these are pretty docile. Good question, though. Anything else? Okay, thanks.
Thank you. On item 4B, interest earnings from bond issues, Mayor Britton.
Before we get to the resolution, I'd like to just update you on the bond issue and the bond sale that we did toward the end of April. It started with the ratings, the rating calls, and the rating agencies, S&P and Moody's, and their ratings of our credit. And S&P issued a AA minus stable outlook for Hamilton County that complimented us on our reserves and on our planning for the financing of the school project and the Justice Center. Moody's maintained the AA3 rating that they had for the Series 2021 bonds, the $10 million that was issued, I think, in early December. So that was maintained, and then we got a second rating with S&P because of the large amount of bonds that were being issued, and that came back AA minus. Both are strong for our size community. The bonds were sold on April 19th. It was a 30-year issue. 8 firms submitted bids. The low bid was submitted by Citigroup Global Markets with a true interest cost of 3.61%. The county netted $97.4 million. That was our goal, $97.4 million, but the bonds sold at a premium, so we will only have to pay back $91.025 million. So we had a premium of over $6 million that we do not have to pay back. So the proceeds were $97.4 million. We'll pay back $91 million, a little over $91 million. The bond proceeds will be deposited Friday here with us, and will be invested over the 2-year construction period. And the interest earnings on this $97 million, we anticipate will be about $1 million will be the interest earnings. So the resolution, what it does, what the proposal is before you is we passed a resolution back in 2020 to put the interest earnings, and the copy of that resolution's in your packet, to put the interest earnings in the debt service fund to help service the bond issues. And what we're proposing is that the monies that have been earned to this point, which are about $120,000, be moved to the construction fund, and the interest earnings from this 97.4 million, though that interest earning be placed in the construction fund so that we can use it for the project if we need it. If we don't need it, we can make the decision to move it back to debt service. But that's what the resolution does. And let's see. In the therefore be it resolved paragraph, it talks about the county commission directs the trustee and finance department to record all interest earned on such bonds to the construction fund, which is Fund 189, where it can be used for the projects if needed, and transfer interest earnings recorded previous to this date in the general debt service fund, which is Fund 151, to the construction fund, which is number 189. So that's what this resolution does.
So do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second it. Excuse me.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Okay, item 4,
See.
yes, 4C, Tennessee ARPA Spend Plan Review. Mayor Britton?
Art, this is, ARPA is your American Rescue Plan Act. That's the federal act that gave county governments, gave Hamlin County $12.6 million in federal funds. We've received half of it. We anticipate receiving the second half in the next couple of weeks. What you have before you is you should have two documents. You should have a single sheet which gives a summary, and which is the sheet that looks something like this right here. You should have that in front of you. And then you have, in your packet, you had a booklet, and that comes from the consultants that the state of Tennessee procured and contracted with the state of Tennessee to help county governments review their spending plans to make sure that they meet the criteria set by the U.S. Treasury as far as how these monies are spent, so that 5 years from now, the Treasury doesn't come back and say, you've got to pay us back because you didn't do it right. And so if you look at that, and the plan meets the criteria based on what Horn and Associates, their advice to us. Now, they don't give a guarantee, it's advice. It's advice to us that it meets the criteria for the U.S. Treasury guidelines. Now, what the plan is this, is for the $12.6 million, $2.5 million you have already committed. You did that last year for the update of the communication systems for public safety, which is for our county, the sheriff's department, EMA, all the volunteer fire departments, EMS, 911, all the public safety agencies are participating in this update, which will make us the first community, city and county, that have gone to this system completely. The whole county, city and county, all public safety agencies will be with this system. So $2.5 million is already being committed to that. Then $7.5 million would be used for the Justice Center project. $1.5 million would be used for the new Lincoln Elementary, and then $1.1 million would be used as matching funds for water projects by the utility districts and also stormwater projects for the county. And underneath that, in the second part of the handout, it shows you how much money the utility districts will get. For example, under TDEC, under their infrastructure plan, they've got $5.1 million earmarked for Hamlin County. And this is, and what we're using is, we have to supply match. So we're using the American Rescue Plan money for the match. For Alpha Talbot Utility District, you have $1.5 million with 256,750 of this ARP money used for the match, and the 1.2 million comes from TDEC, comes from the state. The same for Russellville Whitesburg, the same for Witt Utility, and the same for our stormwater projects. Now, for Alpha Talbot, they have their project that they want to fund is new lines for the Quail Hollow area. For Russellville Whitesburg, the area they want to replace lines is around Lampkin Acres. And Witt Utility has about 3 or 4 roads. Let's see if I can remember those.
Fort Junction, White Oak,
Yes, White Oak and what
Road
else?
Junction, and
Road Junction.
Sublette.
And there's one more, 3, I think. Or is there 2? Anyway.
Oh, Witt.
But same thing, replacing lines that they're losing water. And that's the purpose of these TDEC monies. One of the purposes is to replace water lines where there's water loss. And that's what those projects do for those agencies. So that's the spend plan that I'm proposing, that we reserve the money for. And then once the plan is approved, then we'll start. We have to issue an RFQ for administrative services for the water projects, and then submit those projects to TDEC to get approval for those. The other projects we can move forward with in using these monies.
Do we have a motion to approve the ARPA money?
So moved.
Got a motion, we got a second.
Joe.
Yeah. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4D, Air Medcare Network Membership. Mayor Britton?
Okay, I handed out, you have in your packet a contractual form, and then you have an Ed Medcare Network contractual form, and then for participants in the program, and then you have a handout that I handed out to everyone here a few minutes ago. Basically, what we're asking is Air Medcare is an air ambulance service that serves all of East Tennessee and much of the South and Southeast. And they have approached the Finance Department about offering this benefit as an optional benefit to our employees. So it's nothing that the county is sponsoring. It would be an elective benefit that county employees would choose and pay for. And what you have in what's in your packet are the rates for a 1-year membership, a 3-year, a 5-year, and a 10-year membership. It's a one-time payment, and the employee would pay that and then have coverage if they needed to be transported to a trauma center by air ambulance. And so those can be very expensive, if not like in the $30,000, $40,000 range. And so this is a benefit that we'll offer our employees during open enrollment if you approve in the fall, and it would become effective in January. So we're just asking for permission to offer the benefit.
Is there any required number of people to meet that? 3. Oh, well. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We got a motion?
Second.
We got a second? Any discussion?
I have a question. Mayor, you were saying it's per individual, so how would that be paid? They just be billed? to
Payroll
their-
deducted.
Payroll deducted, okay. I think it'd be a nice offer.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4E, banking bid. Scotty Long?
Every 4 years, the trustee's office is to do a RFP to submit for bids on Hamlin County's banking structure. And I submitted one a couple weeks ago. It actually came in here. And in your packet, you should see a summarization of the actual cost what each one of the banks do. So it came down to Home Trust, First Horizon, and Truist being the major banks. What do you see? What the non-interest bearing amount is? What that is that is the amount of money that we don't get paid interest on to service the entire bank account. That was at 5.5 when I became trustee. Home Trust has submitted 4.8, and then they went ahead and their interest rate was showing the May 4th interest increase at 0.7. So if you look over to the right, I show you that May the 4th, it's actually in 0.7, where if you look at First Tennessee, they were 4.9, started out 0.20, and then the May 4th increase with a half point from the Fed's interest rate took it to 0.70. And then you can see the Truist Bank. What they're doing there is a variable amount of money based on how much money we have in the bank account. It's a little bit more complicated. The other two are flat rate. I prefer to see the flat rate, and personally, of course, it's easier for me to manage there too. So basically, and this is a pretty complicated bank account. It's like 18 different bank accounts, school board, everybody involved in it, the system. So it's pretty complicated to change it and move it from one bank to another bank. But my proposal is that we accept the Home Trust proposal, and then I could move forward and enter into agreement with them. This is something that I don't know if you all have done in the past. I'm requesting that you do it, personally for me, that we'd be doing a contract with them. But the contract basically is a 30-day out for the county. It's the same contract that's been in place the past years that I've been in here. So it has a 30-day out for the county or a 30-day out for the bank. So it's basically for your bid. And the way I tried to ask Bill, and we moved it forward, sort of wanted it to be this time cycle every year so that future trustee comes into it, the bank bid would be done before someone else is placed in the office in September. So I'm asking for your approval to allow me to go forth with Home Trust with the contract. I'll bring it back to you next month.
So
Chair-
we have basically a 4-year commitment, but it's got a 30-day out if either party decides.
That's correct.
So it's not really a 4-year commitment.
It's not really a 4-year,
Yeah.
4-year contract.
Scott, is this interest-bearing account or
Yes.
not? It is?
Oh, every, Wayne, if you look at that chart there, the only amount of money that Hamilton County does not earn interest on is the 4.8 million base. And that's to cover all costs to operate these bank accounts, transaction fees, from deposits. They charge for everything. It's like a credit card. If you've ever seen it, it's a very big analysis statement. So Hamilton County doesn't pay the bank anything. They're allowed that much money that we don't get paid on.
Yeah, I think you said that's the only one we've got doing like that. All the rest of them draw interest, all the rest of our accounts.
All the money's consolidated, and all the 6 that we have. There's 18 total accounts, and most of those are just clearing accounts, where financial department needs to execute $500,000 in checks. We transfer $500,000. That's just a clearing account. So those checks just wash through that account. This covers all of our money, every bit of our money, except whatever the 4.8 million.
Oh, the 4.8.
Yeah, all your money is on the interest-bearing account. There's none.
That's
laying
where
out
if we
there.
need $100,000.
There's none laying out there that's not being paid interest on.
That's like if we need $100,000 for a project, we can go to that account and get it out.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Scotty,
I'm just asking you to move forward.
yeah. Scotty, first thing I want to tell you how much I appreciate you and the amount of money that you're saving us and making. I've been 8 years and I've never had anybody like you, and you're awesome. We're lucky to have you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Chairman, I make a motion, we move forward with
We
what?
got a motion?
Sure.
Second. Cuttrell, Chris Cuttrell. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
And what I'll be doing is just bringing the contract back to you next month, same time, and then we'll go through the process. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. 4F1, these are the budget amendments at this time of the year. They're usually pretty heavy, and it is tonight, so bear with us here. So we got 4F1. Ms. Hurst? I'm sorry, Ms. Antrigan?
over $1.3 million are grant funds from the state of Tennessee to fund our summer learning programs, to staff the programs and to provide transportation for all students to 3 elementary sites and a middle school site this summer. There's also a $15,000 grant from the Joint Economic and Community Development Board to help fund teacher externships over the summer and to help fund teacher hours to staff the CTE exploration bus. There's another item, $8,000 is a grant for student tutoring for the ninth grader. And another item, also the miscellaneous, but it's no new funding, but earlier in the year, the commission allowed us to budget a Tennessee Arts grant in our budget. We had some funding left in professional development, and we're requesting to move those funds to supplies so that we can purchase additional supplies for the students employees grant. And the last item is a request to budget undesignated fund balance in the amount of $80,000 for an increased student diesel fuel cost. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Get a motion? Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Chris Petro? Any discussion? If
Yes,
not,
I got a question.
Okay.
You said unanticipated amount of $80,000 for fuel? Is fuel running, sure it is, but running extremely high, right?
Especially over the last 3 months.
Yeah. Okay.
do you think that amount will get you through the end of the year?
It should, we have about $25,000 remaining and 2 months left to pay. Last month's bill was about $56,000. But we do have some additional funding in the summer school grant that will provide transportation and diesel fuel for that program, so that should help some.
Other than the fuel, everything else was grant money?
Everything else was grant.
Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for that.
I make, already did.
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Henry. Item 4F2. This is Fund 101, Archives and Preservation of Records for $8,680. Ms. Hurst?
This was requested by Archives, and they have a restricted account from funds that are collected just for them. And they're wanting to purchase all the microfilm spools that cover the period from April 1997 through December 2017. And so this will catch them up within about 3 years of microfilm for the Citizens Tribune, for Hamlin County. And this comes, again, directly from their account reserved for their funds. And so they'll order this from the Tennessee State Library, and and I apologize that it's harder to read than it ought to be, but it just came off the scan from Archives in this smaller fashion. So after it's been copied, it's a little hard to read. But again, 20 years worth of microfilm of the Citizens Tribune, and we get this from the Tennessee State Library. So that's about all I have to say on that.
Do we have a motion to approve?
One question, please. What do we need this for?
People come to do research. It can be research for birth, and death, obituaries, birth certificates. Some of this thing has been reported in the Tribune, and it just gives our local folks a chance where they can come and look at their microfilm and the history directly.
Very good.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
We have a motion, Mr. Reed. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Arnwine? Any questions, comments? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F3, Fund 101, Circuit Court for $1,500.
This was to provide increases for 3 employees to bring them up to $15 per hour. And it, again, was to help with the retention issue in that department.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F4, Coroner for $7,800.
This was just an estimate. We were still having quite a number of deputy coroner calls, more than we had anticipated at the beginning of the year. We think that's a holdover from some of the, COVID effects that we saw in this account last year. So this should get us through the end of the year for our deputy coroners, which we have, I think, 4.
And if there is funds left over, it rolls back.
This goes back into the general fund.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Cutshaw, any discussion?
Well, it's necessary.
Yeah. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F5, Fund 101, County Court Office for $15,000.
Right, this is typically would be more than what the county clerk would need, but this is the year, if you remember, we're changing out license plates. So the postage that this reflects is the amount, it started in January, of what was the increase because of mailing out the tags, not just a sticker, but the tag. And this will continue. Now, this entry does not address it, but this covers 12 months when everyone should go through the cycle. This part of this entry is 6 months. And our last 2 bills for postage have been $4,600 a month. Now, we do collect this back from, what's charged for the information, what's charged, I'm going to say citizens when they get a renewal tag. But we have to put funds in the spending account for the postage in order to.
Yeah, do we have an idea of how much the postage is for each plate?
I don't, that's not a question I've asked.
I'm just curious.
In total, we spent $4,600 last month. I think the last 2
That's a lot of mail outs for
A lot of
plates.
mail outs.
Yeah.
Is that 4,600 above normal or just total?
That's just total, to give us an estimation of how much it will take to get through the end of the year.
$15,000. Wouldn't it be cheaper to just hire a truck and have
That's what I was getting at.
to have someone just deliver them back down there? Would it not?
No, I'm sorry.
Would it not be less expensive to get a vehicle and then get somebody to transport it back down there? Save thousands of dollars. I mean,
It seems like a lot for mail
it
out.
is, a lot of mailing.
And my understanding was that you're still going to have more in 6 months?
Can't-
Think it'll be another
It
15,000?
should go back down to normal. And after,
Well, let me ask you a question. Is there a way we can hold on to these for 6 months? There you go. Just hold them and then do them all at once, take a vehicle down there, deliver them all?
I don't
Is that
believe you can
possible?
do that.
Huh?
I
mean,
don't know, I just do.
Tags
know that
expire.
These are, the way I'm hearing you is that these would go back to national.
Correct.
These are going back to individuals who've registered as regional by mail.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't
Oh,
realize, I mean.
okay, my mistake, I'm sorry.
Yes, as each of us gets a
Makes it a little
new
bit cheaper.
tag.
Yeah.
This
we're
year,
gonna
for the
learn
state of Tennessee,
Okay,
this is what it's been costing to mail this to mail them out to whoever, registers, particularly through the mail, on,
My understanding was she's taking these, sending them back down to Nashville.
No,
Okay.
no, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
No, it's, as each of us gets our new tag, of course, that should take 12 months, because we start in January and go through December. But we send, some people come down and pick things up in person, but many, many people ask for it to be mailed.
Well, when they ask for it to be mailed, do we charge them for the mailing?
Yes.
Okay, that's where we get, that's where we're getting our money back,
Keep
okay.
going. But we
Understand.
have to put the funds in the
Okay.
expenditure.
Okay,
We get the money back.
okay.
So we don't go over, that's
Okay.
the goal.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F6 for courtroom security of $100.
There, as you know, our deputies, courtroom security officers receive a uniform allowance. And one of our ranked officers moved up from $400 to $500. They need to reflect that.
Do we have a motion to approve? Motion. Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F7 for jail, and that's $24,000.
This is pretty much an entry that you've seen several years for this amount. We tend to run short on guards because we're not fully staffed and make up for it in overtime. And we see where we are kind of at this year. This takes the money from the guards line item within the jail and moves it to overtime pay. And I'm saying this has been typical for the last, I don't know how long it's been typical, but for as long as I've been here, it's been typical.
Do we have
I'll
a
make that motion.
We got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that one.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F8, Fund 101 for jail, and that's $1,000.
And this was when one of our cafeteria workers was moved up to the, according to the pay plan, to the minimum level within that category.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion? Do
I'll
we have a
second. I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F9 for juvenile court, $250.
This is for gasoline, and as we complete the rest of these, we'll see several entries or budget amendments for fuel-related line items. Most of these budget amendments were prepared a week to 10 days ago to get them ready for tonight. And I could partially hear the discussion with Tracy that, will it be enough? And I was going to say, I'm not sure these will be quite enough, because we were basing it on prices and bills that we were getting in the past, not from what we've seen happen in the past few days with the price of the pumps. So I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up about that. We made the best estimation we could at the time we were preparing these for tonight. In this entry, we need gasoline in juvenile court.
And there's really nothing that we can do about this, is there?
I don't know of anything unless you just ask people to park their cars.
Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We've got a motion. Do we have a second, Mr. Huntsman? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F10, and this is for litter grant of $4,537.
We had budgeted thinking that we would get a bill in the neighborhood of $4,500. And when they had the tire pickup in the spring, the bill turned to be more like $8,000. So this increases the grant and then also puts the money in the program where we're going to spend it. It's just that it's been the largest tire cleanup bill that we've gotten.
And who is that funded to? Who gets those funds?
Now, they come to us, I mean, the county, and it's about $48,000 in total, close to that, on the front side. About $14,000 is designated to go to what's called education. Has to be, this is a TDOT grant. So about $14,000, which is $10,000 is committed by the county to keep Morristown, Hamlin County beautiful. And they get $10,000. The rest of the grant is to be used toward the tire cleanup. So the bill, when it came in, instead of being within that $4,500 range, which it's actually, a couple of years ago, it was running about $3,000, now we had a cleanup event that was like $8,000. And so this helps offset that.
I'm asking, though, who is it that gets that?
Oh, we send, okay,
Yeah,
again.
I'm sorry.
We, to the landfill.
Okay.
Solid waste.
Okay.
The $14,000 that goes to Keep America Clean or Beautiful, whatever that is,
10,000 goes directly to them.
10 or 14?
10.
10?
There's
Okay. I thought-
$14,000 set aside for education.
What do they do?
Well, can I ask Tina? Okay. They do education programs throughout the county. We've bought, as I'm remembering, I'm trying to think back to things that have come through. We buy, I'm going to say items that they attend, I'm going to say county events, and they have like some of the little giveaway items, you know, maybe T-shirts, tote bags, things of that.
I just never see them doing anything. That's, you know. I'm not saying they don't, I just don't see them.
I think the executive director is also paid from some of those funds. The city of Morristown contributes as well. And they do some cleanup, events, education,
Okay. The reason is I just never see them doing anything.
the most visible, honestly, the most visible is tire.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've all manned the tire.
Thank you.
And if I'm not mistaken, they kind of go into the schools at times, do they not? Go to schools and provide programs. And then they'll take materials with them appropriate to the age group that they're addressing. It might be like little booklets that tell a story or coloring books, but things to try to get their attention. Those are things that you would give to the, the youngest children.
Remind me, please, this litter grant, does that come each year to us?
It has been a recurring contract here for a long time in Hamlin County. And when I worked in Cott County, going back, I'm going to say 20 years, they were getting the litter grant.
I feel like, I think it's a conversation that we need to have at some point about litter in our county. I mean, I know that's not your question, but I feel like we have a growing concern of that. Again, it's not yours to deal with, it's just how to move forward with a program.
Primarily fund with the portion that we keep, the payments toward one of our litter grant, I'm going to say, employees that accompanies a litter crew. So that's part of what we fund with the amount that remains in the county.
Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F11, Fund 101, Other Facilities and Maintenance for $5,600.
This is another of the budget amendments that addresses the increasing fuel costs. So this is for gasoline and natural gas, and it's being funded out of our electricity line item. So it's interdepartmental funding.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it. Oh.
Eileen can do it.
Eileen? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F12, Fund 101 for Parks and Fair Boards, and that's for $4,850.
Again, this is interdepartmental funding, and it addresses, we've had, quite a bit of turnover in the park this year in the maintenance personnel line item. I think we've entered our second employee for this year. Part-time personnel, we've increased some of the time allotted for that, and then the related benefits.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F13, Fund 101 for Property Assessor's Office, and that's $800.
Again, this is another fuel-related item to the gasoline, and we were able to fund that from their travel.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second? Any discussion? Second. Motion, James Stepp, and then second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F14, Fund 101 for rabies and animal control. Yes, $2,675.
This is to add $2,000 to the overtime line item and $675 to other supplies and materials. The other supplies and materials can be things like traps, baiting treats, those types of things. And then we had 2 employees most of this year, and now we're, I think, preparing to look for a replacement for one of them. So this provides for the overtime for that.
Is this anticipated overtime, or has it already occurred?
This is anticipated.
Okay.
And
So it's
also,
basically not for rabies or animal control itself, correct?
It's for the now I may be misunderstanding the question again. That's what I want to make sure.
My question is this rabies and animal control? So it's not basically for the rabies or animal control?
It's a division.
I'm so sorry. I'm just.
That's all right. That's all right.
Slow. But this is for our department.
Uh-huh.
And I'm using the term rabies and animal control. That's the official name of the account in the state chart of accounts.
That's the name of the account.
Yeah, labor.
Does that make it any more
Well,
clear?
it does, but to me, when I read it, it's just saying for rabies, material for rabies.
Maybe that's misleading.
Yeah.
But we go by the state chart of accounts.
Okay.
I mean, and I use the official account title for them.
Okay.
And animal control is really what we call it, but the
Right.
official name is rabies and.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F15, Fund 101, Civil Defense for $687.
Most of that goes for gasoline. $17 and $20 just to make sure we've got enough in those 2 benefit accounts. But again, gasoline.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So
make
moved.
that motion.
Got a motion, do we have a second? Mr. Cutshall. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F16, this is for Sheriff's Department for $22,846.40.
This is to record expenditure and revenue of a grant. And we're proposing to purchase some tablets. Funds are being used to purchase, I'm so sorry, portable radios on this one. Another grant we're doing. And again, this is grant money. And if we don't spend it, we have to give it back. So we were trying to find acceptable uses. This is to the transport officers.
Do we have a motion to approve? Joe Huntsman, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I'm unclear on the mental health grant and how that, I know you have to use it or lose it, but that's the best place that we can use it?
We did a lot of inquiry.
Excuse me, Ann.
Okay.
We purchased the new radios to go with the new system. And it's not just for mental health transport, it's for the entire sheriff's department, because we were gonna have to purchase those radios anyway, and we can use these funds to purchase the radios, which will save the county.
So it's offset for the additional ones. This will be in lieu of buying. Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F17, Funds 116 for Garbage Sanitation Department, $81,000.
Half a tank of gas.
There's four items involved. One's maintenance and repair of equipment and vehicles. That's just price increases and the aging trucks. They continue to have to be repaired more. Obviously, maintenance went up a little bit, but I'd say repair part prices double. So you just keep fixing them, keeping them on the road. That's all you can do. That's what it amounts to. Diesel fuel gasoline is pretty much self-explanatory. And we had a tow motor in the shop that went down. We had to rent for a couple of months, and it was, I think it was $2,000 to fix it. So unanticipated, the tow motor is very reliable piece of equipment. So it's sort of a one-time event with it. But, and this hand is pocket on the shirt, y'all know that tow motors are, so we use it every day. Those are what these costs for.
But you said that was $2,000, right? The unexpected repair?
Yes.
Where's the rest of the 79? You know what,
Well, 26 is the diesel fuel, 3 is the gasoline, and then the other part is for the maintenance and repair of vehicles and equipment.
and if it's not used, it'll go back into the general fund, correct?
Back into the garbage fund.
Garbage fund. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second, Mr. Reed. Any discussion?
How many trucks, Mayor, we got spires and garbage?
We got 5 garbage trucks every day, 1 recycle. So 6 total vehicles, and then as many flush trucks as we can get out there. 6 if we're fully staffed, we got 6 flush trucks out there.
Barry, how are you doing as far as employees? Are you fully staffed yet, or?
We're doing okay. We're too short in the garbage, and we're fully staffed in the highway.
Good.
It has helped some, but we're still not getting, commercial drivers are hard to get. And, so the 2 employees we lack them for the riding the back of the truck. So I'm
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F18 for sanitation management for $7,000.
We have, I think we moved some money from, labor to truck drivers. I think we moved some, from heavy equipment operating to truck drivers. We just moved some money from one line item to the other. Didn't cost anything, it's just a movement from one line item to the other.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item F419, Fund 122 for drug enforcement, $900.
The First United Methodist Church donated $900 to help take care of the drug dogs. And this shows putting the money in as a contribution or a donation, and then it's in a line item where they can spend it.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F20 for $5,000, Fund 128, Drug Use Abatement Fund.
This is the fund where we've got the money for the drug settlement up in Northeast Tennessee, not the state funds, but the state settlement. And we spent, or plan to spend, we spent $5,000 for the budgeted funds for ADA and fire safety compliance for 541 Jackson Street and 325 East Bush. I think the High House is one of them.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
You have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F21, Fund 131 for Highway Department, $3,000.
Now, there is one more information, but we had an mechanics position open for part of the year. And then this person has been promoted into the supervisor director slot. And so to even out, where the funds are going to be. And there been some overlap, this just evens it out for the year. And I don't know if you want to say anything more about it, Mary, than that, but this is just getting the right people to do the count lines.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F22 for $28,760.
We moved some money from truck settlement and medical insurance to other line items, so it's just moving some money around in line items there.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item F423, Fund 151 for debt service, $114,251.
This was the interest payment that we had to make on the Series 2021 that we closed. December, I think. So this was the interest payment that was owed for the interest. That, well, we didn't have this bond a year ago when we were preparing the budget.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we Got a motion and a second?
I have one question, please. Restricted for debt service, that means money set aside for paying our
And
debt.
that's what's referred to in Fund 151.
Yes.
That is our general debt service fund. And like the rating and animal control system, this is what that accounts now.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion? Oh, we've got the motion in a second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4F24, Fund 101 for Sheriff's Department, $3,900.
This got added here at the end to reflect some changes that are going to be happening
Go back to
in the
your-
sheriff's department and the executive staff. And this provides funding so that the new lieutenants will help train the incoming. So I don't know if it, and Debbie could answer any more questions if you need more detail. So this will, there will be an overlapping in people in this issue.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Motion carries. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. The board, this time the chair would recognize Chairman Chris Cutshaw of the Personnel Committee.
I'd like to call the Personnel Committee to order. Are there any visitors that would like to address this committee? You have 5 minutes to do so. Seeing none, we have no old business and new business. Item 4A, approval of longevity pay submissions. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Horner, motion. Mr. Goins, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Item 4B, Education Reimbursement Program. I'd like to ask Director Ashley Lyons, please, to come and explain this to us.
Yeah, hi. So, Dr. Piercy, who's the county commissioner with the Department of Health, has extended the program for reimbursement of education. It's actually only eligible employees who are handled under the state with the health department and not the county employees. So this extends that same education grant funding to county employees, DGA and direct local. So it will pay up to $25,000 for a year of school. It includes tuition assistance for 2 courses, leading to a degree plus up to 90% of the tuition for the degree. Now, there are requirements for the employee. They have to have been with the state or with the county for at least 6 months with the Department of Health. They have to commit to a 1-year continued service with TDH. And then there's an application that what they're applying for school is approved based off of whatever criteria is met with the program they're applying to. And they have to reapply for each semester. So what would happen is if this policy is adopted, there is a contract agreement with the county that the state does reimburse. The county actually pays the tuition and the program fees directly to the institution, and then the invoice goes to the state for reimbursement. So this is up for 1 year. They are planning to extend it, but as of right now, it's only effective ends in June 2023. So again, if it's approved, we would move forward with, we have an application already in the process that we use with the state employees, and then also a contract that I have submitted to the county that could be used with the county in place of the state on it.
So to reiterate, you're saying that if someone qualifies for this, the county pays and the state reimburses, and all back to zero.
I'll make that
Anyone-
motion. We,
I'll
Thank you.
second that.
Are there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Lyons. Item 4C, educational support policy. Mayor?
This is kind of part two of the education benefit that, as we just discussed, for the state to be able to offer this to the employees, the local employees, we have to have a policy that goes along with it. We did not have one. So this is a policy that goes to our employee handbook that it's an educational support policy for health department employees. So this is the policy to implement what the state is doing.
Gotcha. So this educational reimbursement program first, but we have to update our policy to reflect that. Okay. Is there a motion to accept this?
So moved.
Ms. Eileen with a motion, a second. Mr. Goins. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Cutshaw. This time, the chair will recognize Chairman Tim Goins of the Public Service Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. At this time, I'd like to call the Public Service Committee to order. Anybody wishing to speak?
What you're receiving, I'm going to present to a couple of you. And I prefer your attention to item 4C, the amendment to Mayor's Dog section of the animal ownership and control policy. The issue that we have, several of you already received emails about this, when there's no appropriate language in the ordinance, it can't be properly enforced. So you've got the ordinance in place already, it's in your packets, Dr. Davis dog ordinance, and what's to happen when that determination is made. It's just that animal control can't enforce it until you amend it, where the person has basically what's thought of as an appeals process, to where it's not just a single individual saying, you know, if the dog's dangerous, they will get a chance to go before a judge to make that determination, they'll bring evidence, and the honor will be there. And I wanted to let everybody know about the situation that me and another individual have had, to where this has been brought to our attention. On 3 separate occasions, I've had issues with a neighbor's dogs. On the first occasion, one of the dogs got loose, come onto my property, tore into a pen that I have my animals in, and ended up killing 2 and injuring 4 of my animals. With that, I had over $1,000 veterinary bill from the state. And the second time, the same dog got loose, tried to get into the same thing again. And the third time, the other of this individual's dogs got loose, tried to attack my animals, and at that point, that particular dog came up on the porch after my little girl. That's the problem. And the other lady who had an issue with pretty much a similar situation, just different circumstances, she had a dog that would come on her property and start running her cat. Well, one day this dog had, saw her out in the yard and attacked her. She was bitten in the stomach, and bitten in the hand, had to go to the emergency room. This is why we need this ordinance corrected, so if animal control feels the need to do so, a dog can't be put through this process, where the owner goes to court, and they make a determination in front of the judge as to whether this dog's dangerous, and you've got your come down to, but that's how this was brought to my attention, it was not in there where they can enforce it. I typed this up myself to give you all basically just a, groundwork. It's what, it basically, if you look at section 1-106, dangerous animals ordinance, in your packets, this, second subsection, that I'm going to read right here, it models basically after the city of Morristown, what they already have. And theirs is enforceable, is my understanding. And it's just instead of the city municipal court, it's the Hamilton County General Sessions Court, the corresponding county court. I've done quite a bit of research on this, and for all of the counties in Tennessee that I've looked up, it is their respective general sessions court that they will cite them to. And basically what I'm asking you to do is just to make it clear these gentlemen can enforce this, and take appropriate action when it's necessary. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none? Old business, there's no old business, new business. 4A, a resolution to amend the zoning map of Hamilton County, Tennessee by zoning district 05, tax map 049, parcel 006.01, and district 05, tax map 041, parcel 010, .00, Sugar Hollow Road in Morristown. From A1 to I1. Lori? Lori, you've changed.
I know, it's not here, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where she's at, so I'll do the best that I can do with it. I know in your package, you gave me the map showing the two properties that were requesting the rezoning. I have it as, from A1 agricultural to I1, or I1 industrial for a concrete and manufacturing plant. There's two separate vacant properties on South Sugar Hollow Road that they're requesting the rezoning for. And I do have the developers here if there's any further questions.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Motion.
Who made, hold on. Tim? A second? Wayne?
Yeah.
Wayne, a second. Any discussion? Seeing none? All in favor of saying yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Motion passes. 4B, recommendation by the MHGIS Hamilton County Planning Commission and County Highway Department for new street naming, Adderley Street. Tina?
We have a new subdivision on Austin High off of Cherokee Drive. It's a 26-lot subdivision that's been approved. And this is the internal street, a new internal street on the subdivision. So we just need that adopted into the road system and to the GIS 911 track for that Adams Street.
Adderley Street. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Got a motion and a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second? All in favor, saying aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Amendment of dangerous dog section, animal ownership. Control policy. Do I have a motion about the policy?
Motion.
Sure.
We've got, Greg Winstead here, who.
He just left. He just left. He just left. I think he thought when Miss Brotherton spoke, that was it. So he walked out.
Anyway.
You had.
What we need to do, Mr. Chairman, is we need to take this, we need to take our current resolution back, work through it, and come back with amended resolution next month.
Okay.
With some of the thoughts of Ms. Brotherton and some that County Attorney and I have had and with animal control. So we've got some work.
So we just need to table this for now?
Correct.
Okay. So we'll table 4C.
So it'll be on the agenda next month.
Yes.
Okay.
Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you, Chairman Goins. At this time, the chair will recognize Chairman Stepp of the Calendar and Rules Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Call to order the Calendar and Rules Committee. Anyone wishing to address the committee, you do so at this time. You have 5 minutes. If not, any old business, there is no old business. Under new business, item 4A, review of regular calendar items with the addition of number 24, Sheriff's Fund of $3,900, and the omission of 12B, amendment to dangerous dog section on ownership. Do I have a motion?
Can't help it.
So moved. I have a motion, have a second.
I'll second it.
Have a second. Any more discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 4B, review of consent calendar items. I have a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any more discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you, Chairman Stepp. I understand that we do have some representatives here now from the Red Barn
Been like that for
concern
years.
issue. Are you still here? Okay. You can come to the platform and address your issue. You've got 5 minutes. Now, you need to state your name.
We've been having a problem in the neighborhood with the red barn, using on special Saturday nights.
I'm sorry, can you speak up a little bit, please?
We have an issue with the Smoky Mountain barn, I think it's the name of it, on, Henry Johnson Highway. And Saturdays, there's been bands playing real loud, and I live about 500 feet away, and it goes through houses, trees, goes through my walls, and I got sound reducing curtains, and I got, they got sound through all I can. And I can hear it, people here doing it, and that goes until about 4 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon, till midnight, or sometimes after midnight. And I don't think anybody here would really enjoy having to live through that, think you have a baby or something like that, or pick up a baby. And it's not just a little bit, I can hear it pretty loud. I gotta put my noise reducing headphones on. Now, we did get this contract from this looking for, saying they want to soundproof and some stuff, but
Is that better? Yeah, there we go.
Much better.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm from Louisiana, so you might have a hard time understanding me anyway. But anyway, I know, I got, like I said, I have houses and everything. I live on the opposite side of the street. And I just don't think that when it was, the neighborhood was actually put there before the Red Barn was. Red Barn, when they started with their venues, were 92. My house was built in 89. And I just don't think the zoning commission, when they would have given them this permission, wouldn't have mentioned about how close they were to the neighborhood, what kind of soundproofing they would have done. I don't know any zoning board anywhere that would not brought this up, especially when the neighborhood was already in place. So I would have did more homework. I just found this out about the meeting tonight, 45 minutes before y'all started, so I really didn't have any time to actually do any kind of research on the zoning thing. But Zone C1, and from what I can understand, the parts that are permitted in there, not included, I mean, you would have had to got permission from the zoning commission to have it. And also, there's got to be a, what you call it, outside or inside or whatever you call it, distance from a neighborhood for anything else they would have had. And the closest I can see from the zoning that I can do, that I saw, was it should be either 500 feet or 1,000 feet from the neighborhood, from residential zone property at the time of approval. Not to be wrong, like I said, I had to do this kind of fast. So, and like I said, I have neighbors that are actually closer, and two of them are here, and they could probably talk to you about it, because they actually live closer, and they don't have the obstructions from the barn that I have, so it's actually louder to them. So I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir. Just real quick, I'm not aware of this. Is this a business? I didn't misunderstood. Is this,
Their
does
Red
somebody
Barn,
have
they
a-
have a venue, and if you look at their website, it actually said it was a premier equestrian facility in '92, but now it says evolved to host weddings. I can't pronounce this, quinceañeras, it's a Hispanic thing, that's
So
major
it
problem.
is a licensed business, is what you're saying?
I imagine, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, some work needs to be looked at, maybe.
Let me address this a little bit. It's in my
Yeah.
district.
Go.
I've talked, and so has Mayor Britton, to the owner, and he's reaching out. He's sent me a letter, and I'm sure you all got the same letter.
Yes, sir, I did.
That we got. He's been in business several years, and nobody gets married in church anymore. They get married at a venue, so a lot of that's going on there. But he has, in his letter to me, that he has reached out to a company that does soundproofing, and he's willing to spend $50,000 to soundproof this barn. Now, if that works, that'd be great. But like one of you guys said, if he leaves the door open, it's,
Sir, I
so-
did record it. I didn't bring it here because I don't think cameras or anything were allowed. I didn't have time to put it on disk drive, flash
Right.
drive.
But I personally am going to come out this weekend and in your neighborhood and
My problem is what I can hear through my walls is when he has the Hispanic quinceañeras, because that's a band, and I guarantee he doesn't have any kind of sound reducing anything in his barn. Plus, he's got a skylight on his ceiling that I can see the lights flashing in there. So it sounds almost like an outdoor band when it plays. Now, I did get the letter. Actually, I emailed the person first before the letter. And he actually told me he's working on stuff.
and
But-
currently there is no ordinance in the county, so
Is his property in the county or the city?
it's in the county. It's in
It
the
is in the
county.
county, because I know the city,
And there was some question whether it was agriculture, but it is commercial.
And the other problem, I did get the same letter where he said $50,000, and I don't know if you're aware, but that's a huge barn. I don't know how much soundproof you're gonna do with $50,000. Because I put siding on my house and it's $40,000. And I got my building is probably 10 times or more smaller than that. But anyway, thank you. And I don't know if anybody else in my neighborhood wants to speak. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
yes, you come up to speak.
My name is Amanda Johnson. I too live on the street. I have no obstructions between the barn and my house. I have 3 kids that are having problems sleeping at night because of the noise. I think this weekend, after we've received the letters, is the loudest we've ever had that band. It went on till 1:30 in the morning. You can hear it between our walls, with our fans on, and it's booming. Windows rattling. And it's not fair. I have kids that are in school. I get it's a Saturday, but 1:30 is ridiculous to us.
Miss, I think that sound ordinance, the only thing we've got in the county is 11 o'clock.
We have talked to that sheriff, deputy that came out the other day, and she said there was nothing we could do. We could call, she can go ask him to turn it down, but there is nothing they can do. We need something done. I mean, we talked to somebody that said it could be a nuisance, but nothing was sent to the sheriff's department about it, so now it's not a nuisance, but it is a nuisance.
I know I have an event. I do venues. The bands stop at 11 o'clock. Everybody's off my property at 12 o'clock. I've got a neighbor 30 foot from my barn.
I wish he was as respectful as you are, but
they
he
got
is not.
they got 3 kids.
I'm telling you, it is 1:30 to 2 in the morning. The party goes on, and it starts. We had called the cops early Saturday, and the party hadn't even started yet. The party started at 5. We had them out there at 4 because the music was so loud.
Where's this barn at?
It's off of Andrew Johnson Highway, right there by, I don't know if you know where Frightmare Manor was?
On the right-hand side, sits back
Yes,
off the hill?
sits right next to it,
That's Holt's old place.
Yeah,
possibly. I'm not sure.
it is.
So, I mean, if we could just figure out something, they talk about, they've sent us 2 letters about the noise, and they're gonna fix it and do the insulation. They have no AC in there, so at night when it gets hot and that, I mean, they pack the place, they're opening up the windows and the doors. So what is the insulation gonna do if you're opening windows and doors? So, that's all I have, thank you.
Chairman Shipley, I address the commission in just a moment. This is a concern I think you guys might want to know about that property as well. I know a few years ago, there was someone come before the commission about Frightmare Manor and the traffic problem down there on West Andrew Johnson and 13th, Tim. I know what they're talking about. Just this past Saturday, I was out gallivanting around down there. It's not just a, a noise concern, although I can only imagine for the folks that live there, of course, because I can remember living in Low Acres hearing the noise from Frightmare at night sometimes, which sounds outlandish, but I know you live in Point 7, Tim, you could probably hear it too if you're out there. But, it's a traffic concern down there. We obviously don't want to run anybody out of business. I mean, that would be awful. But, and I know the property owners reach out to the mayor and to you, Tim, and to the folks that live there, but something does need to be done. If there's not a sound ordinance in the county, after the times that have been discussed by folks like Wayne here, it's something y'all might want to take up. But beyond that, also working with the sheriff's office to try to get some coordination for traffic or something where they're having to hire an off-duty officer to handle the traffic on Andrew Johnson, because I've seen traffic line up getting in and out of that place, and it does create a traffic jam, kind of blocking where Greenbrier comes out to West Andrew Johnson there, and even back up to like Rendezvous, back up to the post office in the westbound lane heading toward Knoxville. So these are concerns. I hate to hear it for these folks, but I'm confident you guys can get something done. Thank you.
Can we refer this to the planning commission to come back with a recommendation?
I think on a sound ordinance or.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do that. And Commissioner Horner, would you work with Tina to see if you could come back with the sound ordinance that would take care of this? Okay?
I'll do that.
All right. Thank you. Don't forget to leave your notebooks so that Tricia can prepare them for the next meeting. We stand adjourned.